Hey, what's going on, guys? Aaron here, and welcome back to finally another video. I actually thought of something, so I actually decided I'm gonna make a video again. But I'll probably more maybe talk about what I'm doing with the channel at the end of the video because I just kind of want to get into it. So this is my idea of like something that could happen in Chapter 5. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like there's little things pointing towards it. This video probably won't be too long, but I have an idea that I just kind of want to throw out there because I feel like it's maybe possible. So yeah. So first we're gonna start at some people might know this tweet. It was from 2020. There was a Ralsei flower shirt that came out on Fangamer, and Toby said, "Ralsei shirt. He's always getting mixed up with flowers, isn't he? That hasn't happened." And I thought that was really interesting because I just think it's kind of weird that he just like said that out of nowhere, and it just doesn't relate to anything in the game. And Toby really doesn't just say stuff out of nowhere. I mean, maybe he is just baiting us because he's similar to Asriel, which is like obvious. But I mean, this is pre-chapter 2 that he's saying this, so he might just be like foreshadowing like crazy. I mean, I just feel like I've always thought about this tweet, and now that we're actually seemingly, or a lot of people think of, we might be going into a Flower King Dark world, which I did make a chapter 5 video, which I think a lot of the evidence does point towards that. So yeah, I think it is fair to re-examine this with the knowledge we have now and some of the more newer stuff in the new chapters that I have noticed too. So basically, we already kind of have like a precedent. I don't know if you'd call it a precedent, but we've had parts in chapter 3 and 4 where Ralsei and Asriel are compared to each other, which is like, obviously we already know that they look similar and that there clearly is some connection that we don't understand yet, which might not even be related to this thing that I'm thinking might happen in chapter 5. But of course, Susie says, "Why'd you Photoshop Ralsei to be? What, that's your brother?" I get it, you can stop pointing out the differences. And then Ralsei talks with Chris about his face and is one of his favorite features of himself and something that he is really, I guess, proud of. I kind of forget exactly what he says, but that he's really proud and happy with how his face looks, which I think is interesting and could be foreshadowing to what I'm about, to what my idea is. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what video I saw this on, because I've watched so many chapter 5 videos and I couldn't find where I found this idea from. So basically the idea is that Asgore has a dark world that he's been living in his flower shop, and each of the flowers in the back represent someone from the Dreamer and Holiday family, because there's exactly enough to fill that requirement out. Now, it could be a coincidence, obviously, but I think it's an interesting idea. Like, obviously, we think the flowers might be based off of the souls from Undertale, which I still think they could, but they could just have those personalities that relate to the Deltarune characters, like that have that personality that's related to the December missing thing and the people that Asgore probably cares about the most in his life. Now, I'm not sure if each one of these characters would go to these flowers specifically. Again, I forget what video I saw that connected them. It definitely did a better job than I did. But I think it's possible that these could be the connections because obviously Chris has the blue skin in the Dark World. And it is pretty important for my theory that Asriel is connected to the Golden Flower, which obviously would make sense from Undertale. Then I put Carol with Justice because she's the mayor. I put Des with Bravery because she's kind of seen more as like out there and rowdy and brave, I guess. That's what I would think. And Noelle is obviously kindness. I think that makes sense. And then it's Toriel and Rudy. I'm not really sure. I kind of think of Toriel as perseverance because Asgore is like persevering to try and be with her all the time. And then Rudy is integrity, I guess, maybe because Asgore and him have known each other for a long time and like are good friends. I don't know. I think those two could maybe be interchangeable. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not sure. The flowers and the personality and the traits are really important for what I'm trying to talk about here. I will say, just if you like this idea or maybe you don't like this idea, something pointing towards it is the fact that Toby said in the chapter 1 stream talking about how, oh, in chapter 1 we have to set up everything that's going to be important in the future of the game, which is like very true because you have to like point out all the important characters, you know, obviously not Des or Carol because they're introduced later, but you know, like Noelle had to be good, Asgore had to be good, and I think part of that was showing Asgore's flower shop early so we could see it because we haven't gone into it since chapter 1. So I think that the point of that was to show us what it looked like, so when we would go into the dark world we would understand what things are. So that's kind of also why I think there's a dark world in there, because we haven't been in there since chapter 1, and there has to be a reason that his shop has been locked the whole time. Like, of course he's been at Carol's house the one day, but there's no way he was there every day that we tried to go in, right? So I'm thinking there's a dark world in there, and then obviously we're going to go in chapter 5. On top of that, whenever Asgore goes into the convenience store to talk to Sans about Toriel, and he's like, oh, what flowers can I give to Toriel to make her feel that way, the same way again? And Sans is like, try talking to your flowers. And he's like, oh, believe me, I have. Which, like, obviously he could just be talking to them in the glass here. But I think, again, that there's a dark world in his shop, and he's actually been talking to the Darkner version of these flowers that could be representing his, like, family that he lost, you know? He's like really stuck in the past and he wants to live with that family again. Like, maybe it'd be a little weird of why he's still trying to get Toriel if he has the fake family, but maybe he knows it's fake and he's trying to get the real thing back. And then also he talks to his flowers in front of the church after trying to give them to Toriel, which is like shows again he kind of is treating the flowers like they're real people, which I know people do that kind of in real life, but I think it's more telling in this game because of how Darkners and objects work, especially with flowers and like cactus in chapter 3, how we don't really like know how the cactus works, because plants are technically living, you know? So how does the flower and cactus and stuff like that actually work in a dark world, because it's like technically living, you know? So I guess we'll have to see in chapter 5. But anyways, here is the main point of this video and the main idea that I have. I think that, like I said, Asriel will be based off of the golden flower in Asgore's like make-believe fake family land in his dark world. So I think that they're gonna go into the dark world, maybe with or without Noelle. We'll get to Noelle. I think the fun gang will go into the dark world, and then for some reason, this is kind of a bad maybe storytelling thing, but maybe it means something later, like maybe real Asriel took it, but for some reason the golden flower will be missing from the bunch of flowers in Asgore's dark world. And then they will go into the dark world and see Ralsei and assume that he is the Asriel Darkner of that world, you know? And then they're gonna capture him, or like they think he's evil, or for some reason they're just gonna capture Ralsei because they think he's the Asriel Darkner based off the golden flower. And then that will make it so that we can have Noelle on our party. I don't know if that means, I feel like that'd be weird if Susie wasn't there, but also for Snowgrave purposes maybe Susie wouldn't be there. Or maybe Ralsei would just get stolen for a part of the chapter. But I think with the way Toby says he gets mixed up with flowers, it makes sense if the golden flower represents Asriel for Ralsei to get mixed up and them think he's Asriel somehow. And then it also makes sense so that we can get Noelle back into the story with like a story writing perspective, because Noelle is supposed to be one of the like major important characters in this story. And no offense, but she kind of hasn't been very much. Like, of course, in chapter 4, in the light world, she had some scenes, but she's really only been in the chapter 2 dark world for like half that chapter. And like, I think it is like about time that she gets into a new dark world. So I think it would make sense for that to happen here. And it would also make sense when Ralsei gets taken away, because people have thought maybe Ralsei's secret boss will be like Susie, where Ralsei fights the secret boss on his own to like become stronger or whatever, like Susie did. And that could make sense, like while he's away that happens, but like obviously maybe we'd control it or something, or maybe once we get there we meet someone new and then that happens, you know, like he got close with someone that we can fight, you know. Yeah, I just think the 5 is obviously on this is the Spams and Sweepstakes thing, Spams and Sweepstakes website that shows what we think is the Snowgrave Importance, or maybe the amount of steps that it takes to stay on the Snowgrave route in these chapters. We can see that 2 is obviously the biggest, but I think that's just because it's so obscure to start the Snowgrave route. It's so hard to do it unintentionally that there's so many purposeful steps you have to take in chapter 2. And 5 is bigger than 4, so I think that could imply that Noelle might be in the chapter, like might be in the dark world. There isn't like 100% chance or anything, but I think it adds a very high chance because of the 5 being bigger than the 4 and Noelle not being in 4 at all. But we never really know until we actually get there. Now to end this off, I just wanted to put this little part at the end here. If you guys didn't know from my other video or haven't seen it, Miss Mizzle talks about like, well said, the bluest flower, disciple of my speech, shy to no camera, and a specimen of elegance and kindness. Should you meet, please give my regards. Which, I don't know if that throws a wrench in the whole, like, Asgore dream family idea. I mean, obviously the blue flower could be talking about, it could be talking about the cyan or the dark blue flower for all we know. But I just think that it's interesting that Miss Mizzle says that, because it's one of like the only, I feel like, foreshadowing that are really getting for chapter 5. And that doesn't really connect with my Rudy idea because, I mean, maybe because he's charismatic, that's why he's like elegant or something. I feel like elegant doesn't really fit Rudy, at least from what we know of him. I mean, maybe there's something we don't know. But yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing to point out in terms of this theory. Like, maybe it helps and maybe it doesn't, depending on who the dark blue flower is. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. So yeah, basically my idea is that Ralsei will get confused for the fake dream family version of Asgore's Asriel. I probably have messed up the word Ralsei and Asriel in here somewhere, maybe, but I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. And this is just more of like a small kind of tiny theory that I just wanted to make and put out there because I thought like it actually has a decent potential to happen in chapter 5, especially like I said, to get Noelle back into the dark world. I mean, who knows, maybe she won't show up till 6, or maybe she'll just show up with us like in chapter 2 where she was just alongside everyone else but we didn't use her. But that's what I mean. There's no reason to just have her in chapter 2 and never again. Like, she's definitely going to be in a dark world, and I feel like it could be in chapter 5 and this could make sense. Again, there's some evidence for this, and there's some kind of speculation. Like the family thing is kind of just like something that I saw that technically was kind of just made up, but did fit pretty well and could have just maybe coincidentally had the same amount of characters as Flowers. But again, I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd share it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I did want to talk about the channel a little bit. I know I haven't really been making videos. I've kind of been waiting for the next newsletter because I did want to wait for a newsletter to try and make a better theory with more evidence and stuff, but it seems like Toby doesn't really want to give us that much for this chapter, which I'm low-key not like complaining about, because I like going in blind and not knowing what we're actually in store for, because like I know Toby's gonna cook no matter what, like full glaze, and I know I'm gonna enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, I really did just want to have this channel as just when I had an idea I would make a theory. I didn't want to do too many videos, and I kind of just made videos to get my ideas out there so that other people could see my evidence and maybe think of a better thing and connect more dots than I could, because I'm kind of just here, just, yeah, like I said, just to throw out evidence and coincidences and stuff that like I haven't seen other people talk about. I don't think I've seen anyone talk about this idea, but I mean, there's definitely a chance someone has. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a video on it because also I haven't made a video in a while, and this is like the first idea I've had in a while to make a video. I think, if you guys know, I have like a SoundCloud. I kind of try and make like video game-esque music. I might start uploading some on my channel. I don't know. I've like thought about it, but I just don't know if it would take away from like why people are subscribed. I mean, I don't really care that much, but you know, if people just want to be subscribed to watch Deltaner videos, then I won't like make people see my other videos if, or like my songs and stuff, if they don't want to. So I honestly don't really know that much about making music. I just think it's fun. And oh yeah, also I want to talk about my picture. I have the link to their Twitter account in my bio on YouTube. I really like their art, and they're doing like a commission thing for like honestly a really good deal, so I decided to do it. And yeah, I really like how it came out. It's actually like of a character that I want to use for a game at some point, but again, or not again, I don't know why I'm saying again, but I'm saying it again as if like I'm talking to myself. But I don't know if this game will ever come out. I just have like an idea. Like I have really like a decent idea, and I want to make a good game, but I really don't know how to code or do anything. Like all I knew is somewhat music, but even then I don't really know what I'm doing, and I haven't really watched an actual video like telling me how to do anything. So yeah, it's just an idea, but I do like how the picture came out, and I think it's a good profile picture. So yeah, I guess I've kind of been yapping here at the end. So I'm just going to end the video. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment below, check out the Cloud, like, subscribe, all the other stuff. And I'll see you guys hopefully soon for a newsletter. I feel like we are way overdue for a newsletter, and it probably should be coming out soon. Every other spring newsletter, except the first one, came out in May, so I feel like we were overdue for this newsletter. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in a newsletter video soon. Have a amazing day.